Thank you very much, Dr. Dawes. I come to this matter as somebody who was born and grew up on the university campus. My father served at the University Hospital of the West Indies for over 40 years to the date of his death. And as a youngster, I used to frequently visit Ward 17, which was the ward that he headed, on Christmas Day, giving out presents, etc. So when I see this cherished institution, which was the leading light of the University of the West Indies as a tertiary institution and had built a reputation of excellence over many years, coming to this point, this very low point, where the Auditor General has exposed system failures, governance weaknesses, malfeasance, procurement violations, and where anecdotally one hears on a regular basis the dire situation faced by people who come to the hospital and need medical care. It really is a travesty, and it pains my heart as somebody who has this long-standing familial connection with the institution. This is a government that doesn't hold its leaders to account. There's no accountability within the Andrew Holness administration. We have a Minister of Health who has gone from one scandal, one massive failing to the next. From the Cornwall Regional Hospital debacle, still unresolved, the dead babies situation, and there's no accountability. And this situation at the University Hospital is one that he cannot wash his hands of. The reason being that he was responsible for disbanding the board of the hospital that had commenced a process of getting the systems, the governance, and the management of the hospital into a state of good order. Commenced, most importantly, a CEO recruitment process. And that was a professional and transparent global search for a suitably qualified and experienced person to take over as the chief executive officer of the hospital. And a firm that was experienced with Government of Jamaica protocols, received over 40 applications, shortlisted 6 qualified candidates, and the board's Human Resources Subcommittee unanimously selected a top candidate who happened to be from overseas. That board also implemented successfully long-stalled hospital information management systems that have been inactive since 2017. And they had revived that in 2022, 2023, and were getting that on track. And an internal audit had uncovered irregularities in contract awards and purchasing, and the board detected suspected fraud in the payroll department, and that had led to arrests. And the board initiated measures to recover over 30% of potential billing revenue that was being written off or uncollected before their tenure. This was a board that was working. This was a board that was seeking to address deep structural problems in the governance and management of the hospital. The account of the then chairman of the board that was dismissed, I think, in December 2023, speaks to the selected CEO candidate having withdrawn due to unwarranted pushback from elements that were opposed to this positive change. Prevention of the automatic permanent appointment of the acting CEO seeking to do that the board voted to appoint another senior director as acting CEO because they were faced with a situation where the chosen person was effectively driven out, and they did not want to return to the status quo, which they were seeking to move away from in a positive direction. And that is when the minister intervened, overturned that board decision, insisting that the former acting CEO remain and that the search for a new manager, new CEO be restarted. The then chairman resigned on December 4th in the face of this interference, stating that the situation he had found himself in was untenable. And the minister then dissolved the entire board and appointed a new one. That is the context in which this Auditor General's report must be seen. This Auditor General's report that has uncovered numerous serious failings in governance, procurement, and general management. It has happened under the watch of this minister, a minister who has interfered in an attempt, a legitimate and bona fide attempt by a previous board to rectify the situation. Most importantly, from going through a process to recruit a suitable and qualified person to take over the day-to-day responsibility of Chief Executive Officer, a process that was thwarted, and the status quo was allowed to remain, and we see where we are now, in a mess. The buck stops with the minister. University Hospital is too important to Jamaica's national development for this to be allowed to go with no one being held accountable. It is just another incident in the litany of malfeasance, of corruption, of nepotism, which has been a feature of the Andrew Holness government for the last 10 plus years. And although the frequency of these incidents is such that people tend to become immune to them, it is our responsibility as the opposition to bring it to the attention of the people of Jamaica and to frame it in the appropriate context so that people can recognize the dangers of allowing these things to go unchecked without proper accountability for those whose responsibility it is to prevent these things from happening or to take the right steps to move forward and solve them. And that is why we call this press conference today. Thank you.
Now, there you have it. If you have questions,